Welcome to the Million Gold Nuggets podcast, where four dynamic women unite to share transformative insights on mindset, manifestation, spirituality, and the invaluable gems of wisdom that can elevate your life. We are parents, entrepreneurs, and friends from diverse corners of North America, passionate about sharing the lessons we've learned and implemented in our own journeys. Each week, join Nicole, Amber, Janine, and Leslie as they dive into heartfelt conversations that inspire and uplift, blending personal development strategies with practical wisdom. Whether you're aiming for success, seeking personal growth, or simply looking to fine-tune your mindset and energy, we've got the golden nuggets you need to turn your dreams into reality. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and prepare to soak up the insights that can spark your transformation. Together, let's forge a path to collective growth and expansion, because the journey to fulfillment is all about collecting those precious gold nuggets. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Leslie. I'll be your host today. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the topic of beliefs and how they shape who we are and the things we do and say. But before we dive deep into our conversations on beliefs, let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Amber Van Auken. I am a mother of three and the co-founder of Abundant Intentional Marketing, where I get to team up with my husband to make a real impact in the digital marketing world. I'm a girl who's all about spirituality and creating positive change for animals. And I love the hashtag Link Queen.
Hello, my name is Janine Scott, and I am a dedicated real estate professional. I am known for my commitment to fostering authentic connections and delivering exceptional service. I am a devoted wife, woman of faith. I am guided by my love for God and the philosophy of be, do, have, believing in the power of small steps to achieve big dreams. Outside of my professional life, I am a passionate lover of live music, and I am drawn to experiences that celebrate life and inspire meaningful connections.
My name is Nicole Beauchamp, and I am from Nova Scotia, Canada, where I live with my fiance and our combined 4 children. I'm an avid swimmer and wholeheartedly embrace the benefits on my health, body, and soul, and mind. I am also passionate about personal growth and development, and it is through my growth journey that I discovered that I wanted to help others through theirs and became a mindset coach. Now I get to help empower other women to heal past wounds, shift their perspective, and create a whole new belief system and identity that they love so they can show up as their confident and authentic selves.
And I'm Leslie, mother of 2 beautiful girls, retired elementary school teacher of 24 years, turned entrepreneur. I am a real estate agent and a day trader. I love to travel the world and discovering new places and culture and people. And most of all, I love reading and helping others live their best lives. So welcome, everybody. It's so amazing to have you here today. Thank you so much. So beliefs. What is a belief? A belief is something we think or feel is true. Even if we can't always see or prove it, it's like an idea in our mind that helps us make sense of the world. Beliefs come from what people tell us, what we experience, or what we feel in our hearts. They help us decide how to act and treat others. They're powerful because they affect our perceptions and responses to life's experiences, often determining how we feel is possible or impossible. So Amber, how do you recognize your own beliefs?
Great question, Leslie. For me, I had to first dissect whose beliefs I had come to understand, right? So with each awareness that I had to ask myself, where did this belief come from? Was this even mine? Was it my parents? or was it from society or my peers? So for instance, I came to the belief that I had that if you wanted to get a good job, you had to have a degree, right? So I spent years going back and forth trying to find out what career I wanted. I spent multiple years in college, and which I thought would benefit me. And in the end, all deciding factors based upon how much money I could make, right? As I came to this awareness, I realized that this wasn't even my belief. My parents, with good intentions, right? They based heavily your worthiness on the degree that you had and how much money you made. While I have acceptance and compassion for my parents that they're only teaching me what they were taught, I now know that this was not mine, and I no longer wanted to hold on to this, and it wasn't serving me because I wasn't interested in those things I was actually going to college for. And so that's kind of where it stems from. Everything that you do in your life, things that you're doing, even to books you're reading. You just ask yourself the question, is this belief mine?
Amazing. I had a really similar experience growing up too. I was told because it was generational that you go to university, you get a job, and hopefully you get that job that is working for somebody and you have a pension. So when you retire, and that's something that I actually did and I believed, and I did that for 24 years, but ended up like it just didn't resonate with me anymore. And then that's when I started kind of thinking about, well, what do I believe? And it came out that I didn't have to believe that this was the only way to lead my life, that I could lead it another way and I can impact people in a different way. Because I was in education, so education did impact people, but I wanted to do something even more than that, even to fulfill myself, right? So yeah, really interesting that we had the same type of experiences from our families. And how about you, Nicole? How have beliefs impacted your life?
Oh my gosh, in so many ways. Much like Amber and you too, Leslie, picking up beliefs from other people, from my family, from society, and not really realizing that I had my own voice, I had my own thoughts, and that I could have my own beliefs. So, for years, I lived my life based on other people's beliefs, which held me back. And it stopped me from doing so many things. And, it from every aspect of my life, whether it was education or a career or even body image, there was certain beliefs that I was taught that, you had to look a certain way. You had to have a certain education, right? You had to be in a certain circle. Even when I was younger, I remember saying to my parents, I want to be a millionaire. And they were like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? They're
Yeah.
like, no, we're not millionaires, so you're not going to be a millionaire. And I remember that sinking feeling. I was just like, oh, like, how is this possible? Why not me? And that's the thing. You can't listen to other people because, of course, me, right? And you, Amber, and Janine, and Leslie, like we can all do whatever it is that we want to do. We just have to believe it.
And it's really interesting, though, how we're raised and we're told to believe these things and not have our own beliefs about things. These are the ones that were set in stone, and this is what you're supposed to believe from generation to generation, or whether you learn it in your school system or something like that. Like I never even thought of as a kid thinking, well, I shouldn't believe that, right? Everybody else believes that, but there were so many things that I didn't want to believe. But I thought, oh, if I don't believe it, then I'm not going to be a good person, right? And, it came down to, everybody else has all the money. Everybody else is thin and you know, pretty and whatever. And I never felt that way because I wasn't thin as a child, right? And so it really is something that has affected my whole entire life and my whole entire being, because we are our beliefs. How we act, what we say, who we talk to, what jobs we get, how much money we make. It's all based around a belief. So, Janine, do you have anything to tell people about how they could change a belief or find out about their beliefs of what they really believe in?
Sure. I first of all, I'd like to say I can piggyback and ditto to everything that you guys just said. One of the beliefs that I grew up with was, oh, our family is big bone and everybody in our family, is like that. That's why you're the way you are, or money doesn't grow on trees, and just those sayings and those beliefs. But now I think that we should use our beliefs as our compass, um, to help guide us, through opportunities, relationships, um, our values, and just use our beliefs to take us out of our comfort zones, and to help us personally and professionally. I think that beliefs help keep us grounded and constantly striving to be our authentic selves. Um, I think that our beliefs should keep us embracing curiosity and stepping out of, again, our comfort zones and things of that nature. So we should be able to use our beliefs to help guide us and our intuition.
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, so amazing. Like when I started just really looking at my beliefs, um, and it was a really interesting thing for me to go through and looking at what I actually believe. And there was a lot of them that I was like, why do I believe this? Like I started questioning myself. Does this belief serve me? Why do
Mhm.
I believe this? Where did this come from? And then I decided that like I don't like a lot of the beliefs that I was believing,
Yeah.
right? Because it didn't feel like my authentic self. And it was something I remember, like, Janine, honestly, I love this authentic idea. Like there was so much growing up that I just didn't resonate with. And I just
Yeah,
felt like I couldn't be myself because I was supposed to believe all of these things.
yeah.
And
And as
Mhm.
an adult, you get to decide now.
Mm-hmm.
You get to
yeah,
decide what serves you and your
exactly.
authentic self. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just like being able to dive into that and look at the beliefs that serve me, that are good for me, and the beliefs that are not good for me has really changed who I am and how I look at the world and myself now. Right.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a belief that they just recently changed that wasn't serving them that they'd like to share?
Hmm.
Well, that's a great question.
For me, I would say, and there's actually been quite a few, but they've been what other people could deem as small, right? But like for me, it's been huge. So I always had the belief that like at a certain age, like if you haven't figured out what you want to do for the rest of your life, that's kind of it, right?
Mm.
Like your time is run out essentially, right? Because again, the whole standard, like you get a degree, you get married, you have kids, you retire, and then right, that's kind of it. So essentially my belief was like I'm too old to find my purpose, too well defined, what it is that I want to do. And I just turned 41, and you know, like they talk about women with like having children, like that biological clock is ticking, right? You hear it like that metaphorical clock ticking, you know? And so for me, but it was like with like finding my purpose, like it was in the background, like, da, 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 you know, each year. And but I had that belief because growing up, that's how it was, right? Like, and I didn't do it the way that my parents had wanted me to. Because secretly, like you said, Leslie, it didn't feel right, like to me, even though I believed it, but it didn't feel right. And recently I did find my way, and you know, I found out what my purpose is. And it's all around, you know, spirituality and actually shamanism. And I really resonate with all of that. And it's like I figured it out, and all of the time that I had been, you know, going crazy over, it all just like drifted away. Because at the end of the day, like there is no time, right? We're all spiritual beings, right? So we don't ever cease to exist. It continues on in a different form. So for me, that's something that I changed immediately when I found out what my purpose is. So
So amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
thank you.
Awesome. Like I'm just gonna jump in and say something like, so like I didn't really think about like, so I love to work out, and I'm always like going and trying to challenge myself to lift heavier weights or do harder cardio or hit sessions longer.
Yeah.
And there was always a lot of defeat in myself. I say, oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. And that was like such a belief in my being that it was hard to do certain things until I decided I was like, no, I'm not going to tell myself this is hard anymore. My belief now is like, this is easy. I can do this. Right. And it's amazing how much easier something becomes when you just change that belief. Right.
Yeah,
way
the
you look-
things that we tell
100%.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
our
one of the things that
self-talk.
I didn't realize is that you could change your mind. That a thought is just a
Mhm.
thought, right? And beliefs can be changed. And what you tell yourself, you're going to believe. So what are you going to tell yourself?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How are you going to empower yourself? Right? Like if you had the choice and you're going to believe whatever you tell yourself, why would you choose things that don't make you feel good?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because beliefs are truth, right?
Yeah, power in the tongue. What you're saying, you know, they come out in our belief.
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
Wow.
one of the things for me, as far as a belief, like I used to think that there were, kind of reflecting back on what Amber said, but that there, I used to think that there were oh I used to think that there were limits on things,
Mm-hmm.
limit that I was limited time to, find my purpose, limited limitations. And I realize now that through my beliefs, if unless I put a limit on it, on my desires, on, that there's no limits. And so I believe that now, that, I can keep going for whatever it is I desire, as long as I keep believing and keep moving toward whatever that is.
Mhm. So, such a gold nugget there, Janine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. People always believe that it's hard to change a belief.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I do. I believe that there's certain beliefs that they don't have a lot of emotional charge behind them and they're just superficial. Those are really easy beliefs that you can change in an instant, right? If they're not serving you, bam, okay. Think the opposite or choose a different thought that you can employ instead. However, sometimes some beliefs are very emotionally charged. There's a lot of wounding behind that stuff. So sometimes it takes a little bit extra time, right? Because you have to go back and address those wounds, address the feelings, because often the beliefs get implemented or, they get programmed into our subconscious mind through feeling. And so if we want to change that belief, we have to look at that feeling and process that feeling and, allow ourselves to be seen and heard and move through that feeling. And then also, then you can change it and implement a new feeling. But you first have to do a little bit of healing first.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
uncover where that belief came from and
Mhm.
how it serves you now. And you can look at the how it served you then versus how you want it to serve you and decide, you know, which way do I want to believe that serves me to the best of my ability, to in the best what see to for me to see myself in the best light.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes those old beliefs were there to try and keep you safe,
Mhm.
right?
And they will keep coming back up
Yeah.
to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Yep. And
You
you're
just
right.
have to recognize.
I think, Nicole, you're right about, I think the intensity or the ways in which we may place a belief is like, oh, this one's too hard. I think is when those are the ones that are rooted with the emotions. Because if
Mhm.
it's just something like, I like McDonald's versus McDonald's is better than Burger King or something, right? Like there's no emotional
Mhm.
attachment, because if tomorrow
Superficial.
you meet the love of your life and he's like, I prefer Burger King, you're gonna be like, McDonald's too, right? But because there's no emotional attachment. But if you have something, maybe like your grandparents took you there every Sunday and now they passed away and then that was like nostalgia for you, then yeah, it's gonna be these emotions are attached. So that's what's gonna lead you to believe, right, that belief is hard because you have so many emotions and feelings attached to it. And I think that's where we have to believe that we can change the belief, right, and make it easy. But it is, like you said, dealing with the emotions of like, okay, like grandma's not here, like I can honor her in a different way, whatever, and feel those feelings, and then move on from there.
So some are more deep rooted than others,
Yeah.
where we could change a belief in an instant when
Yeah.
it's not so emotionally charged, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Or
mean,
we could change a belief in an instant because it is emotionally charged,
right.
right?
I was just gonna say, like, if let's say you like a coffee shop, right? And it's not a big deal. You go there, you get your coffee, but you have a friend whose opinion like you value, and they're like, oh man, like I went there and like they were rude and like this and that. You're automatically, right? Even though it didn't happen to you, subconsciously, you're automatically gonna start questioning the shop you go to, like, huh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
guy is a little rude, right? Like, so immediately
Yeah.
you're gonna shift, and it could happen the other way as well, right? So I'm sure people have, seen, stuff with animals. I know that's where my core beliefs are, right? When, a
Yeah.
certain, food company, they don't treat, inhumane or whatever. And I immediately am like, nope. I don't care how good your nuggets are or how good whatever. I am like never gonna buy from you, right? Immediately. So I think
And
it's
that's emotional impact.
right, right. And
Yeah.
that's where it all stems from, because if there's no emotions, then there's not really a belief, right? It's just kind of an opinion. I
Yeah.
think really from there.
I
I had a
went
friend.
I had to take my car into the garage today, and I spoke with a friend after I had arrived to the garage, and she was telling me what a horrible experience she had at this garage. And so I was like, oh, should I leave now?
Yeah.
And then I just said no. I said, I'm here. They can do what I need done. I'm not going to I'm not going to change my belief about, their ability to fix my vehicle because of a bad experience that she had.
Yeah.
And so it turned out wonderful for me. But I really honestly thought about turning around and going somewhere else
Mhm.
because of what she had said, because of her experience. But I
Yeah.
didn't have that emotional attachment. So I was like, "Yeah, I'll just give them a try." And it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it,
what you could have done is you could have ended up sticking with that and going, oh, I'm not going to go, man. Right. And then you
Mhm.
would have ended up transferring that onto somebody else. Hey, don't go there. Like so-and-so, right?
Right.
You could have, but you actually were in that moment aware of it and then go, hold on a second. Am I not going there because I don't want to go there? Or am I not going there based on her opinion? So that was a great awareness.
You sort of
Yeah.
questioned the belief, right? So
Yeah.
you didn't take on
Absolutely.
somebody else's belief.
Yeah.
You thought, well, I don't believe that, right?
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
gotta find
Exactly.
that out for
Because she said,
myself.
she's like, oh no, I'm never going back there. You know, I had a horrible experience, and she told me about her experience. And I'm like, oh, you know, I don't want that to happen to me. But I was just like, you know, it's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a, and it turned out just as I expected.
Well, what you believe to be true is going to be true for you, right? And it
Absolutely.
will fulfill. And whatever it is that you say, because if you had said the opposite and said, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a terrible experience, you
That's what
probably
I
would
would have
have.
had.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then you would have received the evidence that, oh, geez, I was right. And then
Yes.
therefore reinforcing that belief. But
Yes,
you
because
chose
God says
differently.
yes.
Yeah.
God says yes to what we ask for, what we
Yeah,
our desires and our beliefs.
Exactly.
100%.
So let me ask, if someone wants to change a belief and they're having trouble changing it, does anybody have any tips they could give to help people make those changes so they have a better quality of life, look at life differently? Anybody have any tips?
I do. What I like to do is write down all the beliefs that come to mind. And it just allows me to brain dump, and because the first step is awareness. You have to be aware of what it is that you're telling yourself and that inner dialogue that you hear on a regular basis. So sometimes it'll be like a little bit of a running list, but I always love to do that because then I can see what it is. And then I can look at it and decide, gee, how does this make me feel? And where does it come from? Right? Like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but seeing it on paper allows you to really evaluate it and ask yourself, is this true? Is this really for my highest good? Is this something that I would tell my children? Right?
Yes.
And
Exactly.
that's one of the things that I like to look at. And then I start to think about the opposite or a more empowering belief, and I write that down. But I like to have that sheet. And I also, in the beginning, when I first started on this journey, I used to carry that sheet around. So when one of those old beliefs would pop up, I'd pull out my sheet and I'd be like, nope. And I'd read the opposite. And I found it really helpful, right? Because, it does take some repetition. It takes practice. These are old programs that have been instilled for a very, very long time. So sometimes it's going to take a little bit to reprogram that. And so that's one of the helpful tools that I used.
I love the idea of carrying it around. I always call that future pacing myself.
Yes.
So I know that like I always think a certain way and I have a belief I'm trying to change. And so if I have it right in my pocket and I don't have to think about it, when it comes up, I can just pull it out of my pocket and I can say it again and again. Because repeating something over and over again is the best way to be able to change something, right? Or to be able to grow something stronger, right?
Absolutely. And it's arming yourself with a tool. It's preparing yourself so that you can go out into the world and do whatever it is that you want to do. And I mean, you can do that for anything. If you're going to be, doing a presentation on stage, right? Like you can write down all the beliefs that come up about, speaking on stage, and then write out your new, more empowering statements so that, as you're leading up to that moment and you get those butterflies and you feel like scared, then you can pull that out and be like, nope, this is my new belief. Like, I've got this.
Yeah.
So,
So I think that like, that's so important to be aware that that's coming up. But I think that you have to align it with action. So whatever.
I've done the same similar thing, and I've had two columns on a piece of paper, and I've had the belief of what I have, and then I've written down the opposite of that particular belief. And then I've decided, okay, which one do I want to choose? And I've called it the match game.
Oh,
ah,
love
And
that.
so, yeah, it's like, which is opposite. So, I have these beliefs that I have, and then I've written down the opposite, and then I play the match game with the beliefs.
oh, I love
Wonderful.
that.
Wonderful.
And it all
I-
comes back to like emotions impact, right? So whatever feelings that whatever beliefs that we have, the feelings attached. Like for instance, mine was like, too old, whatever. So it's like, okay, how does that feel? Well, that feels pretty poopy, right? So then I'd go to the other belief. Okay, now how does that feel? So you could take that with anything. So if it's a belief that's not serving you, how is it feeling right now? Right? And then versus, okay, how would it feel if I felt this way?
Hmm.
So with the repetition of the constant, like saying it to yourself, like you said, Nicole, right? And then also, how would that feel if I was on stage and I was confident or whatever it may be, right? Like what does that look like? Because then you're actually reprogramming your mind with the emotions to back up, like the statement or the affirmation, if you will.
So attaching emotion to the new belief.
Yeah.
Acting out the new belief, writing down the new belief, repeating the new belief. Wow, so many amazing gold nuggets. We're on fire tonight, ladies. Anybody else have anything else they would like to say before we sign off? I know Janine wanted to say something.
Well,
It-
before we go, I just want to say, like, no matter what beliefs are coming up, it's important not to beat yourself up about them.
Yeah.
Celebrate the awareness and, just be thankful that they came to you, because now that you're aware, you can change them. Awareness is the first step.
Be aware and you'll be able to change. Amazing. Thank you.
I'd just like to add this little blurb at the end. Our beliefs shape our reality. And at Million Gold Nuggets, we embrace the power of connection, self discovery, and the divine spark within each of us. We believe in the journey of growth where every challenge unveils a golden nugget of wisdom, guiding us toward purpose and self fulfillment. And we wish the same for all of you.
Beautiful.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here at the Million Golden Nuggets podcast. And if you got value out of this episode or you think someone would benefit from it, please hit the share button and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Until we meet again, remember to keep shining bright and uncovering the golden nuggets within. Bye-bye.